Hey, what is going on, guys? XpertFusion here, and today I'm going to be ranking all 8 Chucky films from worst to best in my honest opinion. So after seeing the brand new Child's Play film last night, I decided I wanted to rank all 8 of the films, which of course has been 8, including the 3 original Child's Play films, Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky, and of course the brand new reboot called Child's Play. So this is going to be a fun review, of course. It's just my opinions. This is not based on other people's opinions. This is just on my opinion on the writing, the acting, the directing, the soundtrack, the choreography, just everything about the film into one specific ranking for all 8 of them. Of course, I don't really hate any of them, to be honest. Every single one of them I can like something about, and every single one of them I cannot like something about. So let's get into this, starting with the number 8 spot. Starting off this list, we have Seed of Chucky. Seed of Chucky was the 5th film within the franchise and was arguably one of the worst received out of all of them. It has the worst IMDb rating at a 4.9 out of 10. Most people tend to put this in the lower part of the list. Most people call this one of the worst horror movies of all time. But personally, I don't look at it as that bad. You know, you have to look at it as less of a horror movie and more of just an entertainment piece adding on to the Chucky universe. So there is a lot of things of this movie that I really like, particularly Chucky's character and the development he has in this film. I love. There's some comedy in it that's pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes watching this film you get some good laughs out of it. There's also some scenes that are really cringy and just aren't funny at all, but it's still fun to watch. I mean, this is an entertaining film regardless of how bad some of the writing, directing, CGI, some of the stuff might be. The kills are really dope though. Let's be honest, they have some really cool kills in this film. And also it includes one of the most iconic lines from any slasher in any horror movie ever.
I'm fucking infamous. I'm one of the most notorious slashers in history, and I don't want to give that up. I am Chucky, the killer dog, and I dig it!
So in conclusion, Seed of Chucky isn't garbage, but out of all of the films, it's gotta be my least favorite, so that's why it comes in the number 8 spot. Coming in number 7, I have one of the most disappointing movies of all time, and that is Cult of Chucky. Cult of Chucky is the 7th film in this franchise, and it also comes in 7th place on my list. This movie was kind of the sequel to Curse of Chucky, which was kind of the new beginning of the Chucky franchise, which was exciting, but I just really did not enjoy this film. It went with a really cool theme to it, where they went into a crazy house, and as Renika was after the events of Curse of Chucky, so she was placed into a crazy home, and it did not turn out too well in the end because it just felt off. Like, I keep saying this every time I talk about this movie, but it feels like it's missing a third act. Like, it has Act 1, it has Act 2, and then right when it's about to end, it's getting all, hyped up for more stuff to happen, like a finishing portion of the movie, but it just ends. It's like it's missing a whole entire section of the film, and to me, it doesn't feel well. I don't like the whole, putting souls into more dolls and then having multiple dolls all around. Like, it worked in the newer film because it was a technological aspect and it was more of him controlling the dolls rather than putting his personality into a bunch of dolls. It was just controlling them and having them kill people. In this, it was actually like split personalities of Chucky into all sorts of dolls. And I felt like I just don't like the movie that much, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. And the kills are really weird. I mean, one of them, a little piece of glass cuts off a whole entire, well, not a little piece of glass, it was a thick piece of glass, but it chops off a lady's head. That's not humanly possible, but whatever. Either way, Cult of Chucky comes in at the number 7 spot. Coming in at the number 6 spot, I've got Child's Play 3. Child's Play 3 was the 3rd film, of course, in the franchise, which came out in 1991. A lot of people don't like this film that much either. This is kind of a popular opinion for most people. Child's Play 3 went a little bit into the future compared to what Child's Play 1 and 2 were taking place, and it was Andy in his kind of late teens. He was almost 18, I think, in the film, and he was at a military camp, which he wanted to go in the military, which made sense for his character because he was surrounded upon a whole world of trying to survive, and he felt like it was his dues to just kind of take part. And of course, Chucky shows up, but instead of trying to get Andy's soul, because he wants a younger person's soul, he tries to get another kid's soul. And of course, the reason why he did that, not just because, it was a younger kid, but also because of the rules that it has to be the first person he introduces himself to, or his true personality to. And of course, it was this kid, and because he was in a new body. I like that. I liked a lot of the stuff with that. The ending battle scene, I guess you can call it, was pretty cool, but the rest of the film just felt off. I didn't really have much interest in it, and the kills were kind of lame. I don't know. They weren't the coolest kills in the series, not at all, not even close. But yeah, so Child's Play 3 comes in the number 6 spot. Coming in number 5th spot, I've got the original Child's Play film, which is just called Child's Play, which came out in 1988. This is gonna surprise some people because a lot of people tend to put this higher up on their list, but after rewatching all of them, I gotta be honest, this film wasn't as great as I initially, thought it was, especially back in the past. So I had to put it a little bit lower. I mean, yeah, it's an enjoyable film, but when you rewatch it, one of the best parts of Child's Play as a whole, all the Chucky films, is Chucky himself. And this film has barely any Chucky in it. I mean, we barely get to hear Brad Dourif with the beautiful voice that he of course has, other than the ending, which was, of course, the first major half of the film. You didn't hear any of Chucky, which makes sense. I'm glad they did that because it's the first film, that's what you usually do for the first film of a horror franchise, and then the second and third you can build upon him a bit and show him a little more because it's already been revealed of who he is. But this film kind of kept him hidden for a lot of it. And back when it was the newest Chucky, and it was the only one, it was great. It was amazing. But when you start watching the other ones and you realize how awesome Chucky is and that you just want to see more and more of him, you kind of lose track of this film and when you go back to it because you don't get to see him as much as he is in the other films in action, which is kind of unfortunate. I really, really enjoy the writing, though, and the acting and all that good stuff in this film, especially the soundtrack. Soundtrack's really good. And of course, it's the first one, so you gotta give it some credit there. And the kills weren't that great, I'm gonna be honest, but that end scene in the apartment was pretty dope. And it's one I like to rewatch often just because of the end scene itself. And Karen and Detective Norris, they're great characters, they're fun to watch and all that good stuff. So Child's Play, great film, but it's not better than the top 4 in my opinion, so it comes in at number 5. And coming in at the number 4th spot, I got the newest film in the franchise, that is of course Child's Play 2019. I enjoyed this film a lot more than I thought I would. Now, of course, if you want to see my full review on this film, go check it out on my channel. I recently uploaded it, so you can check out the entirety of what I feel about this, about a 15-minute video. So definitely go check that out. But Child's Play, in short, just completely getting out of the way how I feel about this film, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. This is the only film in the franchise as of right now that is not a part of the main universe. It is a complete reboot. It has got a new voice for Chucky and all that good stuff. And I like it. I like it a lot. I like the technological aspect of the film. I like how Chucky's a lot more dangerous because of the fact that he can control things like cars, other dolls, and the little drones with the knives on it. That was really cool. The whole toy store sequence at the end was one of the coolest scenes in the entire Child's Play film. I was so hyped when I was watching it first. I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. Some of the kills are really awesome. Of course, it's a newer film in the franchise, so a lot of the, directing, the CGI, all that good stuff is really well done. And there wasn't much CGI in the film, I'm just saying, for some instances of it, but for the most part, you didn't really have much CGI. It was a lot practical effects, which makes it even better because it felt like the original in terms of the practical effects. It was kind of funny in some scenes too. They had a lot of comedy in there as well, which is nice for a Child's Play film. I think they always need to add a little bit of comedy here and there. And in the end, I enjoyed this film a lot more than I anticipated, and I definitely recommend you guys going to see it if you haven't already. It's worth the money and worth the time to go see it, I'm gonna be completely honest. So yeah, Child's Play comes in at number 4.
Good night, Andy.
Coming in at the number 3rd spot is Bride of Chucky, which came out in 1998. Bride of Chucky is the 4th film in the franchise, and honestly, one of my favorites. I mean, of course, it's my third favorite. This film took Chucky in a whole new sort of a direction, because obviously the first three Child's Play films were much more, similar to one another. They were, horror themed, very similar to one another in terms of just Chucky trying to get into a soul of one of the people. Of course, Andy in the first two films, and then the other kid in the third film. But this film completely took the move in this franchise in a whole new direction by having a completely different goal, and it was more so of Chucky trying to get to New Jersey, a specific point of New Jersey, to get this little amulet thing on his dead body, which he needed to be able to transfer his soul into a body. But now he wasn't doing it alone; he was doing it with his previous girlfriend, I guess you can call it, Tiffany, and she made this film so much more interesting, in my opinion, because you had so much more depth to the story, because you get to see their interactions with one another, and you learn more about his past and stuff like that, and I really like that. I mean, their interactions with one another makes this film good. I mean, honestly, if it was just Chucky, it wouldn't be nearly as good, just seeing Chucky going by himself to New Jersey, but seeing him on this kind of Bonnie and Clyde road trip with each other, and some of the funniest lines of dialogue and scenes in the entire franchise come from this film. And it's a really entertaining and fun watch. It's got some really good music, really good soundtrack, and yeah, Bride of Chucky comes in at the number 3rd spot. Coming at number 2, I've got Curse of Chucky. This was the return of Chucky, because previous to this, there's been no Chucky film for roughly about 10 years or so. I think it was maybe 9 years before this film came out. So it was like the longest dry period of no Chucky content, kind of like Star Wars having a long time between, the third film and Force Awakens. This was kind of the same deal. So it was really big to see a brand new Chucky film, and a lot of people didn't really know what to expect from it. It wasn't even going to theaters. It was just going to be straight to DVD. But I was pleasantly surprised with this film. There was a few problems I had, like the overuse of CGI for Chucky. That was definitely a problem. The new look to him kind of felt weird too. Brad Dourif's voice sounded a little strange as well, but I liked a lot of the writing. I liked a lot of the tension building between some of the scenes. I loved the backstory to Chucky that they kind of went over. I loved the kills. I loved the fact that they were all trapped in this house, and Nika's character, the fact that she's in a wheelchair, made everything so much more interesting. This was the only film where I actually kind of understood a lot of the characters very well, because they established them in such a unique way. Now, a lot of them were characters I didn't like that much. I mean, they had a lot of hateable qualities, but they were well developed, so we understood who they were, and that we were interested in what would happen to them next. Not many Child's Play films did that in a good way, and I feel like Curse did that in such a unique and good sort of a fashion. And the fact that it ended with basically all of them dying except for Nika and the kid made for such an interesting sequel, but of course the sequel ended up not being that interesting in the end. I mean, I was excited for it because I really wanted to see what would happen next, but like I said, the film kind of fell short a little bit. And there was a really cool after credit scene with Andy Barclay returning, which was really cool as well. And coming in the number 1 spot, my favorite Child's Play film of all time has got to be Child's Play 2. A lot of people have the same opinion, actually, which is kind of surprising. The fact that a lot of people like the sequel opposed to the original, and I'm one of those people, man. I loved this sequel because we already knew who Chucky was. He was established, and seeing Andy being sent to a foster home because they think he's crazy, obviously, after everything that happened, and I loved it. I loved everything about it. Him going to a foster home and Chucky still being there because he comes after him is just so insane. And some of the best soundtracks, some of the best acting, some of the best writing, some of the best scenes come from this film. The character of Kyle was really awesome to see as well. In that end battle in the warehouse, so cool. Awesome. You have some really cool kills in this film as well. The school scenes are pretty cool too. Just the feel of this film, I don't know, it just gives me vibes that I like a lot. And you see a lot more Chucky in this film as well because he's already an established character rather than building up to seeing him finally within the last 20 minutes of the film. No, you see Chucky throughout the entirety of this film, and his interactions with Andy are awesome. Some of the best scenes in the entire film. I love the look of Chucky. I love the sound of him. He's one of the best films for Brad Dourif. He sounds the coolest in this film, I would say. and some of the most iconic lines come from this film, some of the most iconic everything. I just love this film. It's part of my childhood, and I guess, you know, not even including nostalgia, I just wanted to mention it's part of the childhood. But even going back today and watching them, it still lives up to a lot of the other Chucky films, and I'm hoping that maybe in the future another film can beat it, but I just don't know if that's possible because this film is just so well crafted. So yeah, that is my video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my ranking of every single Child's Play film. Let me know your ranking in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.